Have you heard of Nick Fuentes?
No.
Well, he's I guess one of these new personalities on the right. Quite a firebrand, I guess you could call him, on the alt-right. I guess you could. I don't know if people still use that terminology, but
the new right.
Yeah, the new right, whatever you want to call it. Nick Fuentes is really creating quite a name for himself recently. He's been in the right-wing spheres for a while now, but his real new claim to fame is that he's out here, these dumbass fucking million MAGA marches, as they call them, in which there's never actually even close to 1 million people, by the way. But yeah, he's out here basically taking the bold stance, and I mean, this is even a stance that I have to be like, wow, credit for taking the fucking bold stance. Like I said, he's literally telling his supporters basically to not vote, in the Georgia elections and to destroy the GOP. This is how pissed off he is. So take a listen to this and we can discuss. And also I have another clip of him where he actually kind of explains what he means by this. So again, we can make fun of it and talk about it.
And the first million MAGA march, we promised that if the GOP would not do everything in their power to keep Trump in office, then we would destroy the GOP. And as we gather here in Washington, D.C. for a second million MAGA march, we're done making promises. It has to happen now. We are going to destroy the GOP.
So yeah, there's a crowd of like angry white boys that are just screaming.
Dude, that's 1 million people. That's like that looks like the crowd at a Smash Mouth concert.
Yeah, and a lot of Republicans have been freaking out about this, because obviously this dude has a platform. He's out here talking about destroying the GOP, and they're like, "Yo, can you wait until this, Georgia race is done? We're trying to win this motherfucking seats." But here he is actually, describing a little bit about what he means. And I think it's interesting, not just to make fun of this, because it's definitely easy to do that, but it's also, I think, a little bit interesting just to think about the parallels that all are going on here, because here we have, for completely stupid and dumb reasons, basically that they're not accepting the reality of the election. Nick and his crew of MAGA boys are essentially advocating that they don't, stick with the party. And that's something that we talk about a lot on our show, just on the other side, and for much more real and legitimate reasons that aren't, based in conspiracy theories. They're actually, rooted in the need to help the proletariat and, dismantle our oppressive system of elite capitalism. But it's interesting to see, the fury here and the fact that these people truly seem to believe this so much that they are actually willing to leave the Republican Party for Trump.
To these different states, look at every senator, every House Republican. It did not support the president. They did not do everything in their power to keep him in office. And they have to have a real primary challenge in 2022, 2024, and 2026. Because this has been happening for decades now, that we Republicans, we, the real base of the party, we, the real people of the country, we vote for Republicans to do conservative things on the economy, on foreign policy, on trade, on immigration. And time and again, they go to Washington, D.C., and they give us nothing in return. And you've seen this for the past couple of weeks alone from Senate Republicans and House Republicans, even as they make the case that we should give them another 2 years in control of the Senate with the Senate runoff in Georgia. And I am of the belief that we should not do that. I'm of the belief that the first blow that we have to strike against the Republican Party is withholding our votes in Georgia, withholding our votes.
It is pretty funny though that these people, they didn't get pissed about when Trump didn't actually follow through on his populist agenda and do pretty much anything he said he was going to do. They only get pissed or 4 years later, again, after not fulfilling any of his agenda, then he loses an election. So it's like,
if you hard-hitting news that InfoWars brings us, Gavin.
But again, it's like, because clearly they're pissed here, but it's like, if Trump wasn't even going to do what he said he was going to do in the first place, then does it really matter if he's not in the White House or not? Like, it's not like he actually ended the wars or did any of the populist shit that he said he was going to. And it's not like he really even delivered that much of a conservative. Besides the courts, I guess he filled the fucking courts and all that.
Ben Shapiro put on an entire video talking about how if you're a conservative, you should be happy with Trump because he did all the conservative things. Like, I don't know. I mean,
bro, it looks like Alex Jones is on fire behind him. Look at that.
Yeah, dude, it's Christmas themed InfoWars. That's a hilarious studio, by the way. Like he really wants to be on Fox News, but he never will.
But just look at that fire behind. It looks like he's literally the kindling in the fucking in the Christmas turkey. You know, it looks like the. You know what I'm saying? But definitely a funny clip that I thought was worth playing.
And we can delve into it a little more. We don't have to plow over it. I think there is a real strategy conversation to be had here, and I think that it's important to raise it. Right, this is another clear example of the right being able to exercise the power that their base has and the left never deciding to, right? So this is a dude who says, I don't give a fuck. We're not voting for you because you don't do what we wanted. And obviously the things that he wants are deplorable and not anything that I would ask for and really misguided. And the fact that he wants to keep Donald Trump in office to do none of those things is obviously, his broken logic, obviously all across the board. But the one thing that the right wing always understands that the left never does, and it's like the primary thing that can be learned from the right, is how to exercise and wield your power, right? Exercise and wield the power of a voting bloc. Right now, they understand that Mitch McConnell desperately needs to maintain control of the Senate. Otherwise, his goose is cooked, right? And that's why we're seeing the conversation around stimulus checks right now, because I think a lot of it is the worry about the runoff in Georgia, and I think also for Josh Hawley it's that he wants to be president someday. But I think that when it comes to the fact that he's willing to just be frank and say, why would we vote for these people in Georgia who didn't do what we said? That part is true, right? Why would we vote for these people who didn't do what they said they were going to do? And he said he's rejecting the Faustian bargain that's presented to every American voter, regardless of your ideology. And I think that they're, refusing, right, as many people have advocated on the left for a long time, is a real discussion that, everybody, there was a lot of disagreement on whether or not, 2020 was the time. I think we all have to come around and agree. It's like, okay, put that behind us. Now we can't repeat this mistake again. Okay, so Trump's gone, right? It's not Trump in the White House. Now it's time to start exercising our power too. And obviously in the Georgia race, it's better for the left if the Dems get the majority, because it's easier to push them and not have them have excuses. So in that case, I do hope that Ossoff and Warnock. Yeah, I was like, it's not Warnock, it's Warnock. Okay. Win their races, even though I personally find them to both be rather contemptible politicians.
Yeah, Warnock seems a little bit better. He does seem a little bit more rooted in actual leftism than Ossoff. And it's true that the GOP got really unlucky because both of their candidates in those races, Purdue,
dude, they're two of the most corrupt politicians in America.
And not just that, but they're just bad politicians. Yeah. They're not charismatic. They don't, command any crowd.
Loeffler said she didn't think there should be any stimulus checks, or they asked her what the amount should be, and she refused to answer or something like that.
Yeah, they're the worst candidates ever to have to defend, especially as they're trying to pretend to be the working class multiracial party. They got these two rich ass corrupt ass white fucking old people. It's such a terrible look. And if the Democrats win, then they it'll be because of the terribleness of those two Republicans and the fact that they're not really cut from that same faux populist Trumpian cloth that is. It's
the same model whenever a I mean, okay, I don't know a ton about Warnock's policies. You said that he's a little better than Ossoff, who I am more familiar with his policies and much more rhetoric over any kind of substance in his policy. But I think that that's the only way for those kinds of politicians to win, is if they're just going up against a completely Roy Moore versus Doug Jones, right? It's kind of one of those. Anytime, as soon as they put up somebody mildly competent against Doug Jones, he was out of there. He got 2 years in the Senate out of Alabama, but he was running initially against a literal child molester. So of course, even the people of Alabama couldn't vote for Roy Moore. And it's not like Doug Jones was some sort of progressive, but he was at least a Democrat in name. And he
progressive. But I thought that's why Biden was giving him the attorney general position, because he was a progressive to give outreach to the left flank.
Yeah, like he always does. It was the ultimate olive branch of Dougie Jones. But either way, it's the only way that they ever fucking win, right? If you're going to go against a GOP stale candidate, they have to be corrupt as shit if you're going to win as a neoliberal, right?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what this little civil war on the Republican Party develops into. Are they actually serious about this? I wonder if this will actually cost the Republicans the Senate seats, because that will be fucking hilarious.
I hope it costs them one.
I hope. I mean, if it costs them one, then they still control the Senate. So I hope they cost them both, because then again, things like that House bill on legalizing cannabis can actually be brought up for a vote in the Senate.
That's true.
And also
decriminalizing cannabis.
Decriminalizing, yeah. And again, it will be nice. Again, I'm no Democrat. Fuck the Democratic Party. But it will be nice if the Democrats win those seats. It will be nice that Mitch McConnell won't be in, that high of a position of power anymore, and to see him have to vote on all the
Chucky Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I guess not
I don't know
super
if he has
exciting
blue eyes. That just
either.
seemed like a good nickname.